welcome to Monday's edition of Cracking the Cryptic, where today we've got a return from probably the most famous Sudoku creator in the world, Ard van de Wetering from the Netherlands. Ard, of course, was responsible for the puzzle that is our biggest ever video. It's been viewed over 7 million times. Incredible. He is an incredible constructor as well, and I think Mark got to do his most recent puzzle. And Mark, in fact, has tested this one as well, and he says it is an absolute beauty. It's called Differential Thermometers, which is, well, it's a worrying sounding name. But anyway, I'll read you the rules of this in just a second. First things first, I do want to say thank you to all those of you who joined me on my witness stream last night. I'm sorry it wasn't as long as I might have liked, but I had to drive to Scunthorpe, as I did let you know. So, yeah, it was a long day. But anyway, that's now done. And yeah, I mean, also, of course, thank you so much to those of you who donated. It was incredibly, incredibly generous, and I hope you felt you got your money's worth from watching me flounder around. Other news, do check out Looney Tunes. The Looney Tunes Sudoku Hunt, I suppose I should give it its full title, which is available now if you're a patron of the channel over on Patreon. Do have a go. Lots of people are having a go. Lots of people are enjoying it, and lots of you are getting the answer correct. So very well done if you've made your way through all the puzzles. We do, I have to tell you, have an awful lot of incredible stuff coming up for you on Patreon. I'm not gonna spoil anything, but it really is incredible. Now, what else do I want to mention? There was one other thing, which was this happened to me yesterday as well. I'm gonna have to start making lists of things that I need. Oh yeah, I have remembered. We are really very close to 400,000 subscribers on YouTube. So if you do enjoy the channel and you're not subscribed, please do think about clicking the bell icon or the subscribe button. We would be most grateful. And if we get to 400,000 subscribers, we are going to make a special video to celebrate. So what's not to like about that? Now, all that said and done, let's get on to Ard's puzzle. It's absolutely boiling in the UK today, by the way. I really do need air conditioning, which is something that basically you don't get in the UK because the weather is never warm enough, but nowadays I'm starting to wonder. Anyway, normal Sudoku rules apply. Along thermometers, digits must increase from the bulb end, so normal thermo rules, and digits along an arrow sum to the digit in that arrow's circle, so normal arrows rules as well. So let's just run through them. If you're new to arrows or thermometers, this might sound baffling, but it's fairly straightforward. You can see there's a thermometer there. And what we've got to make sure is whatever digit we put in this cell, let's put 4 in. Now this square has to be higher than 4 because it's further up the thermometer, so that the numbers work a bit like mercury. As the temperature gets hotter, the numbers get bigger. So that would have to be a 5 or a 6. Let's put 6, 7, 8, 9 would be a valid way to fill that thermometer. So that's how thermos work. In terms of arrows, very simple again. This circle here is the sum of those two digits. This circle is the sum of those two digits, etc. So we've got this lovely symmetry going around the central box. In fact, that's just given me an idea. But do have a go. The way to play is to click the link under the video as usual. Now I get to play. Let's get cracking. Now the idea I had, which actually may not be a sensible idea, was I just wondered suddenly about Fistmerfell's ring, which of course is the theory that says that these cells here are the same digits exactly as the 2x2s in the corner. No, I don't. Maybe later we might need that, but maybe not. Maybe that's not how we break into the puzzle. So let's forget that. Control A, delete all the colours, Simon, and let's get back to some straightforward stuff. Problem with the the problem with the thermometers is we only have 2 5-cell thermometers. Now, if I was Mark, I would instantly do this. But I'm not Mark, and I'm not doing it. A 5-cell thermometer is not something I readily want to pencil mark, because I just get confused. I'm not very good when I have sort of like so many digits in boxes. Wow, okay, so there is really not much to go on here. These arrows are basically useless, at least now, because there's too much flexibility. They could be as low as a 3 with a 1, 2 on the arrow, or as high as a 9 with a I don't know, a 4-5 on the arrow. So there's an awful lot of degrees of freedom. So this is geometry, I think. And if it's not Fistemafel, is it? It looks like it's something to do with rows 3 and row 7, and column 3 and column 7. Because you can see you cover an awful lot of the real estate of the geometric clues if you highlight these cells. Yeah, okay, and I can see that's doing something interesting. Yes, it's doing something interesting with the arrow cells. So let's look at this. This is set theory. In fact, what shall I use? I might use blue and orange because I think people prefer that from a colorblind perspective. So these blue cells, we can define them. We can define them as 2 sets of the digits 1 to 9. And what do I mean by that? What I mean is that in the finished grid, the blue cells, I mean these blue cells here, will clearly contain 1 set of the digits 1 to 9 because it's a complete row of the Sudoku. And this is the rules of Sudoku. So there's going to be 1 set of the digits 1 to 9 there, and 1 set of the digits 1 to 9 there. Now, let's do the same in column 3 and column 7. So what do the orange cells represent? Well, again, they're 2 sets of the digits 1 to 9 as well, because that's a complete column and that's a complete column. In other words, the orange cells and the blue cells are the exact same digits. Now, you can see that some of the cells we've just highlighted are in both sets. So if I remove these cells from both sets, it will still be true that the orange cells that are left highlighted and the blue cells that are left highlighted are still the same digits. So I'm going to do that. And this is where I think it's going to get interesting, because now look at these cells. This cell is orange and these 2 cells are blue. And we know at the moment that the blue and the orange cells contain the same digits. Now, this is where it's going to get slightly subtle though, because what I want to do is to remove those 2 cells from blue and this cell from orange, because I know they add up to the same number. So I'm going to have to move away from orange and blue containing the exact same digits and go towards an idea where orange and blue add up to the same number. Now at the moment they clearly add up to the same number because they're the same set of digits. And if I remove those cells from blue and that cell from orange, they still add up to the same number because that's the rules of arrows. This circle is equal to the sum of those. So I'm going to remove those, and I can keep going, of course, round the ring. Those are equal to those. I'll take them out of both sets. Those are equal to those. I'll take them out. Those are equal to those. And what we're left with is a situation where we can't say that the blues and the oranges are the same digits, but we can say they add up to the same totals. And that is really interesting, isn't it? Because look, the blues and the oranges are on different bits of the thermometers. So I'm seeing there's some weirdness going on in box 9 is what I'm seeing. Why do I think that? Well, if you look at the shapes of the thermometers that Ada's put in here, this domino is definitely higher than those blue squares, this domino is definitely higher than those blue squares, and this domino is higher than those blue squares. So in boxes 1, 3 and 7, the orange cells are definitely greater than the blue cells. But we know that overall the blue cells and the orange cells add up to the same number. So in this box where the thermometer is different, the blues are at the top end, these blues are going to have to be dramatically different and dramatically higher than the oranges. And the question is how much higher? And that's probably what we've got to work out now. I mean, it's tempting to think this is a sort of maximum difference. But how do we prove that? How do we prove that? Because what's making me hesitate here is that I'm not being very articulate, but what I'm thinking is that you know, I could put a 1 in here and a 2 in there, for example. And that would have a relationship. It would obviously put minimal pressure on these, but it would still be be possible for these to be higher and these to be, because these are always higher than these. So if this is 1 and this is 5, for example, that's a difference of 4 on the thermo. But that could equally well be represented as that being difference of 4, so that being 5 and that being 9, which I mean is impossible because there's a 9 here, and this is 9. It's not at the end of the thermo. But the point I'm making is that it's not actually that easy to know how to do this. Maybe what we've got to do is actually think about the differences between the cells. That's a sensible idea. Okay, so that's what I'm going to do. I'm not going to focus on the value of this cell. I'm going to focus on the minimum difference that this cell has to this cell, and the minimum difference this cell has to this cell. So if that cell's a 1, 2, 3, 4 would be possible. Now, you could immediately say, that's not possible because this can't be a difference of 4 because a 3 is not available. But it can be a difference of 4 if I shift that to being a 4. 4, 5, 6, that could be a 7. So the minimum difference between this cell and this cell is 3. And the minimum difference between this cell and this cell is therefore also 3. So this box delivers a total minimum difference of orange and blue of 6. It's the orange cells in this box must add up to at least 6 more than the blue cells. Now, oh right, now hang on. This is not the same length. That's not the same length of thermometer either. So here it's different, because this, if that's a 1, that can be a 3 now. It doesn't have to be so far away. So this one, those two have to be at least 2 different, and these two have to be at least 2 different. So this one's delivering 4 differential between... Oh, this is why it's called differential thermometers, of course. I'm just thinking, when have I just said the word differential today? I never say the word differential, but I did say it when I was talking about the title of the puzzle. So this one is delivering a 4 differential, this one delivers a 6 differential, and this one is the same length as this one, so this is delivering another 4 differential. So the differentials... The minimal differential between blue and orange in boxes 1, 3 and 7 is 6 plus 4 plus 4, which is 14. Yeah, okay, and that's it, isn't it? That is such a cool idea. It really is such a cool idea, because how on earth do we offset that 14 gap with just this? Well, there's only one way that's going to work, isn't there? So it is 1, 2 and it is 8, 9. And if you look at this, the difference between the 1 and the 8 is 7. The difference between the 2 and the 9 is 7. 7 and 7 is 14. So we have offset the differential, the minimal differential that is possible in the other boxes. Right. And this is the only way, obviously, we can do it. We can never make these further apart. So now I'm just wondering what this means. Oh, I tell you what it means immediately. Where do we put 9? In column 7. You can't put 9 on an arrow, because that will definitely be at least 10. So 9 goes here, and maybe we're off to the races. It's just, let's stop though. That is such a gorgeous idea, because there's nothing to go on. I think if you'd given me this puzzle a year ago, I would have had no clue how to do it. Absolutely no clue. But now set has become so common that a puzzle with this sort of stark geometry, it makes me immediately think of set. And these brilliant constructors are now able to embed these ideas with these, in such a way that they create new things all the time. This is just a lovely, lovely idea. Anyway, that's enough about the lovely idea. Let us try and work out. I just want to think about what we know about the other boxes now, because we know that we can't have a difference between this cell and this cell that is more than 3, because we had to absolutely minimize the differentials in order to get to just a 14 differential in the final box. So this one and this one are If that's a 1, 2, 3. Oh, I see. Hang on. That can't be a 1 then. Because if that's a 1, we know that the difference between that digit and that digit has to be a minimum, which would make this a 4, which would require a 3 on the thermo. So I don't think, this has worried me a bit, but I don't think this 3 is allowing this square to be a 1 or a 2. So it's at least a 4. 5, 6, 7, 8, which means it's a 4 or a 5, and that's all it can be, I think. Now, that does imply certain truths, doesn't it, about this sort of dogleg we've got going on here. There must be a 5 in that domino. Yeah, 5, 6, 7, and 8 have to appear in this run of digits, don't they? And then the other digit is the 4 or the 9. So the 6 is always horizontal, the 7 is always vertical, and the 8 is always vertical. So that means in box 4 the 8 is in one of 2 places. Okay, maybe that's not quite enough. The 1 in this box has to be up there, look. One of those 3 cells, and the 2, because we can't put 1 or 2 on the thermo. This 9 is requiring something on the arrow there, but that doesn't look very restricted. Okay. So maybe we carry on doing this, do we, in the other two, on the other 2 differentials, although look, we've not got quite the same potency as a 3 ruling lots of things out. So let's check. Anyway, so this square here has to be exactly 2, well, so if this was a 1, in order to keep our differentials to a minimum, that would have to be a 3. In fact, we can immediately see then that's not it's impossible for this cell to be a 1, because the 3 would clash. And we need to have a 3 there, because we need to make sure that this is a minimal differential between this cell and this cell. So, another way of thinking about this then is that this is a run of digits, isn't it? So this, because it's the same over here, I suppose. So this has got to be like 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 3, 4, 5, etc. So what's not possible then? 2 looks possible, 3, 4, 5. Mark will be chuckling away to himself if he's watching this, because I'm obviously pencil marking quite liberally here. 3, 4 is possible, 5 looks possible, 6 looks possible, but here it might get interesting with the 5 and the 6 though, because the next digit would be a 4, which would require a 5 there, which is impossible. 4, 5 is impossible, 6 is impossible, so actually this thermo is really limited as well. Now, oh no, nearly. 1 has to be up there in box 3, and now the 1s in boxes 1 and 3 are sort of locked into these triomino shapes. So the 1 in row 3 must be in one of those 3 squares. Well, it can't be in a circle, so it must be on this arrow, which might be interesting. And also, we can do some pencil marking. So though one of those is a 3, one of these is a 4, that's less useful, and one of those is a 5. So 5 is now in one of those 2 cells in box 6. And 9, I'm just wondering about in box 1. It's got to be in one of those, it's got to be in a top cell. And that is useful, because now we can ask where 9 goes in box 2. It can't go on the arrow. Even if we add 1 to it, we'll still get 10 in that square. So that's a 9. Can't put 9 on an arrow. Oh, 9 can be in one of 2 places in box 8, I think. 8, though, is also in one of 2 places, I've just noticed, from these 8s and this 8. So do we know anything else here? Do we know... Are all of these going to end up being 9s? Oh, no, they're not. There's a 9 here, ruling a 9 out of this one. Okay, well, I think all we've got to do then is to look at this thermo and see what this reveals to us. So, I don't know actually. Oh yeah, no, it is going to be limited probably by the fact that 7 can't go in those squares. So, what can we do? 1, 2, 3, 4. Is there anything wrong with that? I don't think so, but I'm probably wrong. You can't put 2 in here because that would have to be a 3, which is not going to work. If you put 3 in, 4, 5 is ruled out. Aha! Come on, keep stopping. 4, 5, 6. It's this. Right. This one is where we should have started. Well, once we've done this one, we should have gone down here because I think that this. I mean, you wouldn't spot it, would you? But the 3 and the 5 just do amazing work, combined with the 7 in one of those 2 squares of limiting this thermometer. It literally can't be anything apart from 1, 2, 3, 4. If you put 4 here, 5, 6, this is a 7 and it would clash. So actually it's not 4, this can only be 1, 2, 3 and 4, and that might be useful. He says, yes it is, that gets us a 1 here, which gets us a 9, oh no it doesn't get us a 9 there, the 9 could be in one of 2 places. It's nearly useful. 1 must be there now, in box 3. 1's in one of 3 positions in box 6. Actually, I've just had a thought. I didn't realise that this 9 arrow couldn't have a 1 or a 2 on it. Or a 5. This 9 arrow. How are we going to make it up? It can't have 1, 2 or 5 on it, so it's got to be 3, 6. And that's it. Look. Now, if that's 3, 6, that can't be a 6, so that's a 5, 4, 3, 2. This is just brilliant. It is just brilliant. Now, where does 8 go in the column? It goes there, so that must be a 7. So, do we know what this arrow is then now? Don't know. Not sure. There's got to be a 2 in one of those cells. That must be on the arrow because you can't put 2 in the circle. Let's just think about this. I want to do something with this arrow. So maybe we can. We know that 5 and 6 are definitely looking across into those squares. So the actual options for these squares to go along with the 1 is 1 and 4 or 1 and 7. So this square is either This square is either 5 or 8. Well, it can't be 8. There's an 8 looking at it from box 1, so that's a 5. That's a 5 by Sudoku. This must be a 1-4 pair now to add up to 5. That's fixing that this is a 5. This is a 6. This is a 7, 8, 9. This is just brilliant. It is, I mean, I wish I could do justice to how clever I think this is, because it is absurdly clever. 4 and 2 go in there. Now I reckon I'm going to be able to do some damage on this arrow here. Let's have a look. We've got 1s, 2s and 6s to place. Yeah, so you can't put a 6 on this arrow. That's going to be an 8, which will clash. So you've got to put 1 on the arrow, and that's a 1-2 pair leading up to a 3, and placing a 6 in the corner of this one. Now those 2 squares are... No, I've made them... No, I haven't. 4 and 5 work. Oh, I had a horrible, horrible thought then. I've messed up, but I haven't. 4 and 1 go in those squares. Okay, what do we put in those squares then? 5, 7s. Yeah, we can put 5 there. This is a 7-9 pair, I think. So these squares are now known. 3, 6 and 8. Don't know if we can do those. We can certainly get rid of 8 from that one. We can get rid of 6 from this one. And we can get rid of nothing from this one. What about those then? We've got 4s, 7s and 9s. 4s, 7s and 9s. That one is not 9. That one is anything. And that one is... Oh, no, that one's not 9 either. Sorry, 9, 9, 9. We're not calling emergency services. Oh, this 6 is doing this. How can I not see things? It's just extraordinary to everybody, me included. Anyway, there we go. Now this 6 is bouncing back over here, which gives us the 6 and the 3. Get rid of the 2 in the corner of those cells. And we can stare again. What about those 2 then? 6s and 7s. Okay, they're not resolved. I can't see any 6s and 7s in this column or these columns before you tell me off. 3, 4, and 6 here. That's a 4. So that's a 3. That's a 6, and that does resolve the 6 and the 7 at the top. So now those squares have got to be 7 and 8, which we can do. And these squares now are 1s, 2s, and 4s, which we can't do, I think. Might be wrong, but I can't see immediately how to resolve those. In fact, this row, look, just needs 1s, 2s, and 4s in it. So that's a 1 or a 2, that's a 1, 2, or a 4. The central cell of the grid, maybe. That is seeing quite a lot of digits. 1, 2, 4, and 7 from here. Well, it sees 1 and 4, so this is a 2 or a 7. Not quite sure. 5 must be placed up here, isn't it? Yep, we can place 5 into this square. Those two squares are 6 and 7, I think, which is doable. 6 and 7. The 7 here gives me a 2. That gives me the 2 and the 1. That square's a 4. That gives me the 4 and the 7. Keep going. I've got a 1, 2 pair here, so this is a 4. This 2 gives me the 1, 1, 2. 3 and 7 into those squares is resolved. That's a 3 at the top of the grid. We need 2s and 8s, so that's an 8, that's a 2. That's a 2, that gets me the 8 and the 9 if I trust the pencil marks, and I'm going to for once. And now we need 1s and 6s, look, and I think we've just finished the puzzle. Let's see. We have. That is just sensational, isn't it? Differential thermometers indeed. Ard, take yet another bow every time. Every time I do one of Ard's puzzles, it just delivers, stunning logic. A piece of stunning logic after another piece of stunning logic. I love the fact this is like an introduction to set. It's pretty clear what's going on in these squares, but the effect they have is so devastating. The fact that you can lock 1, 2, 8, 9 onto these, and then the fact that you force each string of thermos to be a set of consecutive digits is just lovely. And that there are a few given digits out here, aren't there? That's the other thing about Ard. He doesn't care about giving you given digits. He just wants the whole package, the whole puzzle, to feel for the solver like an absolute joy, and this does. So I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you got through it. Let me know in the comments. I do enjoy reading them, especially when they're kind, and we'll be back later with another edition of Cracking the Cryptic.